Activism, okay, that's not what it says there. Benefits of inefficient activism. Obviously, my cut and paste didn't go so well at that point in time. It's probably 2 in the morning. So just tell me when you're ready.
Well, can you start it once this comes on, rather than when I
Okay.
talk? I'm just hovering it, so don't look at me. Just look at the floor while you hear an audio. No, look at that, not me. Hopefully it'll work.
And he said, you got to check out Sarah with Craftivist. And to be honest with you, my first thought was, I don't really do crafting. I mean, I know it's great, and I'm not judging people that do, but it's just not really a thing that I do. And I kind of thought, oh gosh, is this really going to be a group of people that are actually, doing anything? Or are they just kind of sitting around and creating little pointless treasures, which it was terrible, and I'm embarrassed to say it out loud now. But I thought, you know what, I need to learn from different people, and so we invited Sarah to be on the show, and graciously she accepted. And then she sent me her book, which was very generous of her. And we get sent books every once in a while, but this was, you just knew immediately that Sarah was going to be a different kind of guest, because the book came in a wrapping that I can only describe as immaculate. It was a special brown paper around the book, folded in a way that I have no idea how she did it, but it just looked perfect. It had a little bow on the outside of it and a lovely inscription inside of the book with a bookmark, and it was just so thoughtful, and that level of detail and that thoughtfulness drew me into the book, and drew me into going deeper and deeper in the book, and finally realizing what the art of gentle protest is. So I am just really...
Okay, so my talk's called The Benefit of Inefficient Activism. So not ineffective, I'm talking about inefficiency. So if you think of inefficiency, Wikipedia says it's the ability to avoid wasting materials, energy, effort, money, and time in doing something. And hopefully what you got from hearing Eddie, who runs quite a popular podcast in America, hopefully you heard from his own voice and tone of voice that those extra things actually means that someone can go from being really cynical and not interested at all and just busy doing other stuff and getting lots of demands to really feeling that someone had put a bit of extra effort in, a bit of money, a bit of a surprise. And it opened his mind a bit more. Hopefully it opened his heart a bit more. And the interview I had was more than an hour because he'd read nearly every page of the book after being quite cynical. And we had a really good meeting. And I think if I hadn't, without telling him, done all these little bits, which to be honest took me less than 3 minutes, but he just clearly doesn't wrap many presents. But that meant that then we're now still in touch. We've got a really good, trusted relationship where we might be able to help each other in the future. So I want to talk about how inefficiency isn't a bad thing, actually, that we should all try and make a bit of space in our activism toolbox. I'm really impressed by everything I've heard already about how to use AI and the power of bots in an ethical way and all this email segmentation and all this amazing stuff I just can't do. But I also think we really need to make space in the toolkit to go a bit above and beyond and I don't mean that in terms of burning out and doing lots more stuff, but doing stuff that people don't ask us to do, because tiny little details can actually have a huge impact on people. And it's a lovely thing to do, so it might feel like it's using up more energy, but you actually gain a lot of energy by doing some extra little bits and bobs. So I've got 3 quick examples. And the first one is online. I run the Craftivist Collective as a social enterprise, and I have quite an active online community and lots of people who share things with me that I think might not be very effective activism or could be quite divisive and hateful rather than hopeful. And I, instead of tell them what to do, I spend a long time asking them questions on, what are you trying to do there? Who are you trying to target? In what way? What are you trying to change? Tell me more about why you use that word. And I have quite long conversations with them, either in public or in DMs or in emails, sometimes even on the phone if they're needed, to go through lots of questions with them to find out what they care about, what they are actually trying to do, and I challenge them a lot. But I have to do it really slowly. I have to pick my words really carefully. I have to read a huge amount of emotional intelligence books and psychology and neuroscience to try and help them be effective activists, which needs a lot of investment. But by doing that, it really does help people improve. They listen to me much more than if I just said, that's great, or well done you, or I don't agree with that. I think it's a really useful investment for long-term relationship building and mobilising. And it's hard to pick one example because there's lots of different ones. But online, I think we really need to do those bespoke conversations. Don't just say, here's a link to more info. Quickly look on their bio and say, oh, you're a designer. Well, think of activism as a design process. Who's your audience that you're trying to attract? What functions can you offer them with your techniques? And I do that a lot with people, and that's where, over the last 10 years of where I've not engaged millions of people, like some of you had with open click rates of things, but I've definitely helped a handful or hopefully more people be on that journey who've then continued to be an activist in more effective ways. Another quick example is when I worked for a big NGO. I just started, and one MP was on our target list of a potential ally for a particular campaign that we campaign on every year as a global issue, but his office and him were completely ignoring any contact with the NGO that I was working with. So I said, well, has he done anything this year that's in line with the campaign that can link to how we've got a common cause that we both care about? And there was a very loose link for something around maternal health that he'd done in the UK that we campaigned on globally. So I made him a Valentine's card. It was pretty quick. It wasn't this one, it was a paper one. And I wrote inside, to you and your team, who are often forgotten, which we know is important to remember those thoughtful details. This is great that you've shown your love on maternal health, and mortality is a big issue. We both really care deeply about this. We're doing this work, you're doing that. Is there any ways that we can help you in your work? And it would be lovely just to have a coffee and have a chat. And I hope you and your team like the card, and it encourages you to keep showing your love. And from complete silence and quite aggressiveness from the team on the phone whenever we'd call, of being like, no, sorry, he's busy, he's always busy, he's never free for you. They did have a coffee, and we started building quite a good relationship with just this one. Again, took more than 3 minutes, but it was not a long amount of time just to build this relationship with an MP. And the way our brain works is, if you get a positive surprise, you actually do get dopamine, and it's much more memorable. And the last one is, have some SMART goals to achieve your goals, but also have some space to find out where people then take your campaign in different ways. So I'm sorry, I'm going over. Emotions are contagious. Inefficient activism can lead to universal reciprocity. Find out more. Thanks.